When I first was managing and beginning into it, I was 24 years old. So how a 24-year-old, woman is perceived and like leading and coaching a team, you have to adapt and adjust, and the perception can be very different. So I had to learn that and grow with that and kind of create my own style.
I'm Delia Colon, and this is The Zest. Citrus, seafood, Spanish flavor, and Southern charm. The Zest celebrates cuisine and community in the Sunshine State. Quick reminder to please rate The Zest wherever you're listening to this podcast. It helps other listeners to find us, and we really appreciate it. Now, on to today's show. More than 3/4 of head chefs in U.S. restaurants are men, according to the Census Bureau. But Olivia Geisler has forged her own path in the male-dominated world of kitchen leadership, and she's doing it at one of Tampa's most buzzed-about restaurants. The Pearl restaurant opened just last year on downtown Tampa's Water Street. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, this is the hottest street in town with all the restaurants you want to be at. This is where you take your friends from out of town. This is where you go before or after a Lightning hockey game. You get the picture. So the Pearl opened just last year, but it's already garnering praise, and it's even listed in the newest Michelin guide to Florida restaurants. The Pearl's success is due in large part to its executive chef, Olivia Geisler. I recently stopped by the gastropub to chat with Chef Olivia about how she's forging her own leadership style in the kitchen, how her Midwestern roots fostered her love of hospitality, and how we can all cook smarter at home.
The Pearl we're located on Water Street, across from Amalie Arena, and it's kind of got a nautical feel with the Pearl, so we're like a gem in the making, but we have lots of gastropub influence, so imagine like a bunch of chefs getting around and creating like their dream menu, like showing a bunch of different techniques, but really craveable food. So we have everything from raw oysters, baked oysters, but then we have a Southern classic with fried chicken, made in house, and a house-made cinnamon roll or sticky bun. And then we have a hanger steak with a kimchi fried rice and a fried egg on top, because what chefs don't like fried rice with an extra fried egg on top. So it's just real fun and cool techniques, real craveable food, approachable, for every day. You can just come as you are and enjoy everything.
I know that the Pearl was recently recognized by the Michelin Guide. How does that affect you as a chef? Does that change the clientele who are coming in or their expectations? Does that change the way you do things in the kitchen?
So for us, it just puts a major spotlight on us. And it's really key because everyone knows the, Michelin star ratings and the guide. So a lot of people were reaching out to us. So it makes all of our guests laser focused on every single detail. So they have expectations of being a fine dining restaurant and white tablecloth and the hospitality. Even though we're a casual restaurant, their expectations are through the roof. So everything has to be perfect because that's their expectations, and they're just laser focused on it. Like, well, so-and-so mentioned you, so you guys better be good.
Okay, so you're located on Water Street, as you said, by Amalie Arena. There's a hockey game tonight, I believe. It feels like there's always a hockey game.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of foot traffic, and you're on Water Street, which is like this up-and-coming dining area. I had a friend visit recently with her fiance, and the fiance has traveled all over the world, and he said, "Oh, this could be Dubai. I feel like I'm in Dubai right now." And I was like, "Really?" So what's your overall impression of Tampa's dining scene, and where do you see the Pearl fitting into that?
It's really cool because this Water Street, you think 2 years ago, none of this was here. None of the restaurants were here. It's all brand new. So the museum was here and the cruise ship. So it's really, there's places to live, multiple places to eat. So it's a place where you can walk around and poke your head around and check out a lot of stuff. So it's great because it's kind of created this neighborhood, and you can have a block party. They just did a Taste of Water Street where a bunch of restaurants were having samples of either cocktails or beverages, and people bought tickets and a passport and were able to walk around and check out a bunch of stuff. So that's really a cool, fun environment where you don't get really anywhere else in Tampa, where you can just have a block party experience of people walking around and checking out new stuff. So it's great to have neighbors and everyone else. So
Yeah, a lot of Tampa Bay is not walkable, but Water Street definitely is. Yeah, the dogs and the kids and people eating ice cream cones and all that fun stuff. Are you from Tampa?
I'm not. I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. OHIO.
Both guys? Sorry.
Yeah, right. Okay. We'll geek out about that later.
Yeah.
So tell me about growing up and how you got into cooking.
I grew up in Columbus, so that's Central Ohio, and then I have family in Chillicothe, so it's like an hour south. So we have a big family, so us getting together would have, for Thanksgiving or Christmas, like going to one of our cousins' houses. So we'd all have potluck style because there's so many of us. So it's always bringing either pies or cookies or side dishes. So it's a big family environment and always coming into each other's homes. So that's kind of, I think, where hospitality started for me, and I didn't know it. So the food and being around the family and welcoming each other over, and always have, one of my aunts would always never lock her doors, so everyone was always welcome in the neighborhood. But there was always coffee brewing, sodas in the fridge, popsicles for the kids, some coffee cake on the counter. So there was always food and beverages and snacks, and everyone was always welcome to socialize and, put their feet up and relax and just be part of that. So that's kind of where it it just seems natural. Like, that's part of what I just have to do. It's like,
very Midwestern of you.
Yes, it just is what it is.
Like, it's not enough to just take care of my family. I have to be ready at all times for guests.
Yeah, you want to make everyone always feel welcome and great, and that's what's so natural about being in this industry is it's hospitality, and it's welcoming everyone and making them feel good and appreciated from everyone working and learning to just get to say hi and recognize guests that are in and spending time here. What's going on? What's a special occasion? And that's what really feels great when you just make that moment for them, make them feel great and just, appreciate their time that they're spending with us.
I like that because there are restaurants where they act like they're doing you a favor.
Right.
Or you ask for another glass of water and the server acts like he can't be bothered.
Like, who do you think you are? It's like, no, it's like
you work here.
It's so hard to get here. Like, you have to park, you have to, there's traffic. So just the fact that everyone made an effort to come here, want to go to the Pearl, look us up, and like they're spending their afternoon with us or their evening with us or their celebrations, like, just appreciate them and just be genuine and, be honest with that and want to make sure they have an experience and it's effortless and they just feel great.
So that's like the service side.
Yeah.
And then on the food side, does your Midwestern background at all translate to the food that you're making here at the Pearl?
The food, I'm just with Cameron Mitchell Restaurants. So part of the team is just really learning and coaching the teammates. So we have such a, variety of everything. It's welcoming for everyone, which is really nice. So you can have like a great seafood or in our catch that we rotate or a shellfish tower, or you can enjoy the burger or enjoy a Cuban sandwich, but we'll confit the pork in-house and we make the pickles in-house for it, which is really cool. So you get to see those techniques. So it's a really nice restaurant to learn and educate and teach new up-and-coming like culinarians because we dehydrate, we confit, we braise, we pickle, we fried chicken. So all these techniques are here and we make our own stocks in-house, we make our own chowder. So it's all from scratch. So it's a great kind of like learning environment, which I fell in love with. I'm like, oh wow, it's like, magical seeing how a sauce is made. It's just lots of fun. I couldn't get enough of it. So I just want to spread it and like share it with everyone.
I love that. And it's an open kitchen. So even the guests can see a little bit of that magic.
Yeah, that's fun. They'll walk by and like, oh, am I in the kitchen? I'm like, oh, chef call. I'm like, get out of here. Like, thank you, because you never know who's behind you, but everyone's like seeing, inspecting, and they're like pointing like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, that's our fish and chips. And they get excited just seeing it and feeling the flow of the kitchen and being able to peek in that little wonder. So it's, it's fun. And we play off the energy of the restaurant, and the restaurant gets energy from, the kitchen too, humming and moving, but you hear people gearing up for a game and you start hearing people laugh, and I'm like, you know what that means? Like, we're gonna get real busy real quick, so be ready.
Oh yeah, be ready when that third period ends at the Lightning game, probably before and after.
Well, it starts to get, people are chilling at the oyster bar, starts to get loud. I'm like, okay, the sun's going down. I'm like, it's happening. So
it's hockey time, almost. So when people are peeking into the kitchen, do they know that you're the chef? I read that only about 12% of executive chefs are female. So what was your experience coming through the ranks?
I just kind of had to learn how to create my management style. So I had a lot of great mentors, and they're still my mentors. So having that trust was really key, but I can't manage and coach and lead the team the same way as like different males can, just because, it's different. When I first was managing and beginning into it, I was 24 years old. So how a 24-year-old woman is perceived and like leading and coaching a team, you have to adapt and adjust, and the perception can be very different. So I had to learn that and grow with that and kind of create my own style. But it's great because there's many other chefs that are females, and it's not just, I just pick and choose from a little bit what works for me or what works for different people. I'm not a 6-foot giant chef like a lot of my mentors were. Like, we're huge, and, they're naturally intimidating walking into the room or naturally commanding. So I have to create that leadership and that, commanding in a different way. So you got to pay attention to the body language and everything else that you're doing.
How do you do that? Because men, I'm generalizing, like to tell women how to do things, and the way that a man does something wouldn't work. There are women who like to tell men how to do things too.
It doesn't go over well that way.
You can't do it the same way.
No.
It doesn't come off the same way.
And that's, I'm a coach, and you have to listen a lot, and you have to hear where people are coming from, because everyone has like different backgrounds and different experiences and different perceptions. So you have to listen, and how I speak and guide one person works very different. So I have to adapt for each person, and I have to listen and learn. I'm like, okay, how do they want to learn? Is it their career or the young student? Where are they at? So listening and understanding like each person and who they are and where they're coming from and what they want and what they need from me is really the key. It's not about me. It's about, I'm here for the whole team. I'm here for the whole guest. And that's my role, is to support all of them. It's not about me. It's about all of them and where they want to go and where they want to be. And I'm just here to make sure they have everything that they need. So
kitchens have sort of a militaristic style of ranking and leadership. And even the word chef, doesn't it just mean chief? So it's like, you're the boss.
You have to, because you have to know who a point of contact is. And It's like, who's in charge and what's next. And like, that's important because it still needs to be organized, but you just have to know who's in point. Alex is our general manager, so everything has to go through him, and, that's the way, because otherwise, like, you can't have 5 people running the same ship. It doesn't work that way. So you just have to know who's in charge and what's organized, and you have to have that, so.
Are there any advantages to being a female chef? It seems like you have to be a little bit more creative to maintain that authority, but what works for different people. It's almost like, with my kids, I know that the way I talk to my daughter has to be different than the way I talk to my stepdaughter, which has to be different than the way I talk to my son, because we're all individuals. Are there any advantages to having that broad female perspective?
I don't know. I'm not a guy, so I don't know.
Right.
I just do what makes sense for me, and I always try and learn and challenge myself. So, I try to be emotionally in tune, but at the same time, that's a disadvantage too, because I can get too attached and too personal, and I have to like take a step back and be like, no, it's like I'm Chef Olivia right now. I'm not Olivia at home right now. And, when I'm at work, I'm at work. And when I'm at home, I'm at home. I can't treat my daughter like I'm at work. That doesn't go over very well. She needs me to be mom when I'm at home. So,
how old is your daughter?
She's 12. She's awesome. So she loves getting her food and cooking and keeping her busy and, just treating her and listening to her. So it's really awesome.
I don't know if you find this, but when I'm out in the evening, either for work or for fun, a lot of times people will ask me, like, who's watching the kids? And I don't know that they're asking my husband that. So have you noticed any of those sorts of double standards?
A little bit, but it's just, you figure out. You have a family, and like people ask that, but they don't know. My husband has the same thing. We met in the industry, so we take cues from each other and we support each other. It's like, well, he can go on vacation travel. I'm going to go on vacation. And it's because we've got each other supporting. It's just, I don't know. It's all I know. My mom was a nurse, so she's always worked. So Dad was always one home and taking care of us because she would work night shifts. So it's not foreign to me. It's just natural to have two working parents and that support each other and take care of business. And like, we're kids, we're resilient, we'll survive, whether it's babysitters or grandparents or one parent or the other, depending on who's working, it's like, they'll survive. They'll be fine. So,
how many kids do you have?
I just have my one daughter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What does she like to eat? What do you make at home for her?
It depends on what she's in the mood for. Sometimes it's pasta. Sometimes she was sauteing up enoki mushrooms or cutting up dragon fruit because she thought it was really pretty, or she'll make her own scrambled eggs and pancakes. So it's, what she's learning and what she's curious about. We made pesto together. You never know. Sometimes she's fussy and other times she'll eat and try whatever she wants. So I don't push it. So
our daughters sound like the same person.
She likes sushi, so she's a maniac. Raw salmon only, not cooked salmon. I'm like, okay, whatever you want.
Oh my gosh.
So.
My daughter tried to make kimchi in a pickle jar.
Oh God. Yeah. She's been eating kimchi. I'm like, where did this? Okay, whatever.
I know. I love kimchi, but if you don't know what you're doing and you're making it in my fridge, it's not a pretty scent.
She didn't grow up eating spicy. Now she's like curious about certain things with spiciness. So
nice. And it's fun because they see all this stuff online now.
Yeah, she's trying it. She's like, I saw it on TikTok. I'm like, okay, well, whatever is fun for you.
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
Can we try this? I saw it on TikTok. Oh, the new thing is candy salad. Has she made a candy salad?
No.
It's exactly what it sounds like. Your face is exactly the face.
Terrible.
That's the face I made when I heard about it. You just buy a bunch of candy and dump it in a bowl. Disgusting. But what would you tell 24-year-old Olivia? What do you know now that you wish you had known when you started out?
Just trust yourself and, keep learning and knowing that you get through it. Like, you're always going to have like those challenging shifts and there's always going to be those tough things, but usually those tough moments is being uncomfortable is usually you're flexing those muscles, just like in the gym and where you're working out. If you're working out and you're not sweating and you're not uncomfortable, there's usually nothing happening. So with work or home or anything like that, is like if I'm being challenged and I feel uncomfortable and I have a little bit of doubt, I'm probably getting stronger and I'm learning from it. And I'm like, knowing that is like, it's okay to be uncomfortable and that's probably a good thing. And that means I'm pushing myself and I'm evolving and growing, and like those tough moments make you stronger and fortify you. And, whether it's sports or anything else that we're doing, that's usually what, like, you're just building those layers and building that resilience and flexibility. So
how do you do that at work? How do you push yourself in the kitchen?
It's taking what guests we can, or having different parties, or doing different events. We got to participate in Food Fight and be a part of that team because there was St. Pete versus Tampa Bay. So just doing different volunteer events or offsites or, those different events and saying yes to that. It's,
those charitable events for like hunger, raising money.
We've been open just over a year. So those events are what challenge us in different ways, because now it's an offsite and it's a different layer, and what menu we're going to do, what are we going to take with us. There's always different opportunities. So finding ways to say yes and making that stuff happen and going above and beyond is like, that's what's challenging. Like, okay, we're saying yes to something, whether it's making a raving fan out of a guest or, they'd be like, hey, I want some pasta or mac and cheese. Like, well, let's go run next door, go get some pasta, because we don't have pasta on our menu.
Right, because there's a Publix right next door.
Yeah, but we don't have
Convenient.
pasta on our menu. So I was like, how can we say yes? And how can we make those moments for people? And like, that's how we, learn and grow and adapt. Like, okay, we can't make that happen. We can make a vegan dish happen, or we can have tofu in house, or, there's different things we can come up with and take care of guests.
Is there something you've been wanting to try?
I'm always asked like a favorite dish or that stuff. I really like really fresh food and like letting the product shine for itself. Or if it's like a fresh fruit or kale or a vegetable, it's kind of nice when stuff's not manipulated too much and it's just speaks for itself. Or like a beautiful trumpet mushroom, or like sometimes like just the light finesse of it, or if it's just a piece of fish and it's just speaks for itself, really, is the best thing, or what I really enjoy.
What advice do you have for people at home? Because my friends and I have been talking a lot lately about how we get into these dinner ruts. We have the same couple of meals on rotation. We don't want anything too complicated because if I'm cooking it on a Tuesday night, I want to know that it's going to work.
Right.
So what's like a baby step that I could take?
My thing is like I'll go grocery shopping and then I'll cook one day and then I won't touch those vegetables for like a week and then they're not fresh anymore. So I try and like, okay, what can I freeze or have cut up and prepared that will freeze okay? So I'll get a bunch of bananas and cut and freeze those so I can make a smoothie or I can have something easy access or even with chicken or that stuff. Or I'll make a pesto and then I'll make a big batch of it and then freeze it into ice cubes so that I can have a quick sauce. Or I'll make a big batch of gnocchi and then freeze them so I can have a fresh pasta, quickly so I can have just like a little bit of ambiguity that ways. And I'm not just like stuck, having to start from scratch. Or I'll chop garlic or make garlic oil or a stock. If I get a roast chicken, I'll save those bones and make a stock with it. So I just try and, utilize everything or pre-plan or just have like some key ingredients that can adapt in different ways.
I love that. I have recently started saving my veggie scraps in the freezer. And then when I have enough, I'm going to try to make
I know there's bone broth now and all this stuff. I'm like, it's chicken stock. What is happening? I'm like, it's beef stock.
This is 2024. It's bone broth.
It's
now.
chicken stock. I'm like,
your grandma is
what
like,
is happening?
I've been making this for 100 years.
I'm like, what is going on here?
Everything old is new again.
Yeah, but you can freeze that stuff and that, can add a lot of flavor. But freeze it in like an ice cube or like portion so you don't have to have this whole big batch or you don't have to have the whole veggie stuff up. So you can just like pull it out of the fridge and be like, okay, I just need just this for today. So you don't have to go to the store and do the whole work every time.
Yes. I made some chili a month ago. And then a couple days ago, I took some out that I had put in little individual portions. And it's almost like a gift to your future self.
Yeah.
Or I have done the pesto and then taken it out, and you can boil pasta in 10 minutes. And so I'm like, thank you, Dalia from last week. You did me a huge favor.
Yeah, so you don't have to have everything. So I'll buy garlic and like slice it up and make a garlic oil. So then, I have that flavor ready to go because I'll use that whether I'm sauteing up peppers or like making sausage and peppers or chicken thighs or grilling or what have you. So that helps. Or buy a bunch of chicken and marinate it and freeze it or whatever, vegetables, or make spaghetti squash because I love spaghetti squash. So I'll cook a couple of those, but I don't need all of that. And then I'll, just pull it out of the freezer when I want it. So it's already roasted and ready to go. So
yeah, that sounds very Midwestern of you.
Full circle. It's just, it's easy. Like, I get home at night, so I'm going to be eating at midnight. But that's what it is. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a fried egg right now. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm sure your fried egg is fancy with like special oils and all kinds of delicious. Oh, you're nodding.
No.
Shaking your head no.
It'll just be like fried egg with rice and some, whatever else. So sometimes the simple is just the best.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about yourself or about the Pearl that we haven't touched on yet?
No, it's just great. It's part of Cameron Mitchell Restaurants. I started with them when I was 18 as an apprentice in high school. And I've gotten to travel all over the country with them. And it's just finding great mentors and great team members. And they've always been there for me and they've believed in me. And I just try and pass that on to the team and everyone else. And that's kind of the key thing is like, don't forget to appreciate and believe in yourself. And finding those great people around you that you can learn and grow from, no matter what career, industry, environment you want to be in. Just take that everywhere and just, if you learn a little bit, just learn it and then also spread that kindness, always move forward.
Okay, speaking of spreading kindness and moving forward, who is another Florida chef who you think people should know about? Maybe someone whose food you admire or someone you think is not getting the attention that they deserve?
I love Chef Jason over at Ocean Prime. We've known each other for many years. So he's tremendous and we work together at that restaurant. And then also Chef Giatron with Zukusan. So they have sushi in a couple places over up close to the outlet malls. They have Otto, I think at Amateur Works, and then like Crate. So they have a couple different places, but always done fresh and fun stuff. And having that kind of community, being able to talk to each other is like always key. It's like, you guys doing good? It's like, yeah, we're good.
Aw, you're good. Well, you're definitely good. You're better than good here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
This is fun. Mm-hmm. That was Executive Chef Olivia Geisler of the Pearl Restaurant on downtown Tampa's Water Street. She shared the restaurant's recipe for harbor salad. It's got shellfish, bacon, ricotta, avocado. I mean, is your mouth watering? You can find that recipe on our website, thezestpodcast.com. I'm Dalia Colon. I produce The Zest with Andrew Lucas and Alexandria Ebron. The Zest is a production of WUSF. Copyright 2024, part of the NPR network.